Hey everyone, it's Dominic the Primetime Treasure Hunter. Welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about how to successfully deal with competition from China. Now, this applies to eBay, applies to other online selling forums. It's primarily focused for merchants who are in the United States, but it could technically apply to people who are shipping from outside of the United States and also dealing with a lot of competition from China. But in the United States, this is a significant problem that really dates back a long time, but especially in more modern times since 2011, when the United States Postal Service entered into an agreement with China Post, which is essentially the state agency that deals with postage services in China. It's like their version of the United States Postal Service. And the two countries entered into an agreement in which the United States allowed for products to come in from China at a very cheap rate, as long as the items were labeled as e-packets and they were 4.4 pounds or less, so 2 kilograms. And that sounded like a great idea at the time to the United States Postal Service, because the whole idea was to just bring in a lot of monetary revenue in. And while it did do that, it did also cause some other problems, one of which was that when postage had to go back because it wasn't deliverable, well, now we were paying a higher rate as a country compared to China's cost shipping it into us. So that was a problem, and also is really hurting a lot of U.S. merchants who could not ship things out for the same price, and so they were really getting essentially lowballed in terms of competition, not in terms of offers, but they just couldn't compete with the same exact product being offered for drastically reduced prices because they didn't have to pay the higher shipping costs. Now, this was supposed to be addressed earlier this year. In mid-October, the United States government announced that they were going to end this deal and withdraw from basically the international form of the postage union, which also basically had the United States into a lot of other types of agreements that were allowing for low shipping rates to come into the country. Now, I have not seen an update on that since mid-October, so I will continue to check up on that to see if any news comes out of it, but I have not seen anything since then, so I think there's still possibly in negotiations on that topic. So jury's still out, I think, in terms of whether that's actually going to happen. But there still is a lot of competition from China on online selling forums. And I'm going to give you an example of an item that I put up yesterday. Now, some of you may be a little bit familiar with what I'm going to talk about here if you follow me on Instagram. That's at prime_time_treasure, where I did a little video on this yesterday, but those videos are limited to a minute. And so sometimes I like to expand on certain topics that I think are really important right here on this channel. And it did get a lot of attention yesterday. There were a lot of people commenting and thought it was interesting. So I figured it would be good here, where we have a dedicated comment section where people could add in their thoughts and comments and questions or anything like that. But let me show you how I deal with this successfully. This approach is something I've used for a long time, and it really works well. Let me show you the item. This is just an example, but it could be any item for you. This item is a wall scroll poster. It's from a Japanese anime production called Ergo Proxy, and two of the characters are on there. And so this is something that is interesting to people in the United States who follow Japanese anime and would like a product like this, especially around Christmas time. This would be something that's a good gift. And when I was looking at my current competition yesterday, this is what I saw. Now, I just typed in Ergo Proxy wall poster, and you could see there's a bunch of results here. There's some people who are selling things in multiple, but one of the things I want you to notice, in fact, it's the main thing I want you to notice, is right here, this part of the screen. I'm going to highlight it. It might be a little bit faint right here, but every single one of these things, and they're not all identical to mine, but one is, I'll show you in a moment, but all of them are from China. From China. Now, those two aren't exactly the wall posters, but these are here. This is just a different one, but it's the same series, Ergo Proxy, from China right here. All of them are. Now I'm going to scroll down. You know where to look now. Every single one. I'm going to slow down. Sometimes I scroll a little too fast, so I'm going to scroll down a little slower here. Just every single one. There's nobody shipping from the United States. Just keep going, and we're eventually going to run into the same one that I have. So there it is, right there. And we actually see there are 3+ people watching it. Now, the person is, let's click on it. You see the charge here is $13.98 to $16.98, depending on the size. There's different sizes of these, so the larger ones are going to cost more. I have the larger version, so to compare to here, that would be the $16.98 one. So it's over there. And then you could see they're charging $6.99 economy shipping. So for a $17 item with $7 economy shipping, you're dealing with $24 essentially is what the price is here for this. Now, as you saw, I have this same exact one, and I want to sell it, but not sell it for as low as they are pricing it. And that's the problem, right? It's what we talked about earlier, that they could often get their products out for cheaper. So going to backtrack here a second. Sorry, the computer's a little bit slow. But in fact, since it's not backtracking, one of the things I'll show you here, let's just click on the person's feedback for a second, so you could see something, because this is something that not all buyers are going to do, but many buyers are going to do, is to look at someone's feedback. And while there are a lot of positive feedbacks, if you click on the negative ones and the neutral ones, you'll see a couple things that I think are relevant to what I want to show you in terms of how to deal with this. Let's look at this first one here. Over 2 months and no item, tried to contact seller, but just been ignored. Now the seller responds, the buyer asked us to cancel the order and we did, not as they said, not ship. So, okay, a little language issue there, but you can understand what they're trying to say. So let's even say we give the seller the benefit of the doubt on this one. Well, now we have another one that says almost a month later and still hasn't shipped, tons of false promises. So now we have what could be a pattern. You don't know. You want to look into a little more. That's why I always suggest looking at the neutrals as well, and a lot of buyers will do that. And we have some other issues as well come up, that the fabric feels cheap. Keep that word in mind, cheap, for a moment, because there are a lot of counterfeit items that are coming out of China. The patents are bad but smooth. Seller canceled item because out of stock. After purchase, I was notified item was not available, but it showed for available. Item failed to reach me as of 10 January. So now, and waiting for seller to respond. So that's a bunch of bad stuff there, not being responsive. And this one here now starts to look like it actually probably was the seller's fault, not the buyer's fault, because now you have a pattern of people complaining about their items getting there. And that's a concern that people are going to have when they're ordering things from China, is how long it's going to take to come over. And another concern people are going to have is how they are going to get the product. In other words, is the product going to get to them and be something in good condition? Is it going to be cheap? Is it going to be something that you're going to want to send back? And then if you want to send it back, how expensive is that going to be? And here's a problem. From China does not accept return. So if you wind up getting a bad item, and if you're not familiar with how to deal with eBay, you might be, feel like you're stuck there. Now, truth is, if you could write item not as described, you could force the seller essentially into taking a return, but still, this is one of the consumer confidence problems that people will have when dealing with items that come from China. And the reason I'm telling you that is because you need to use that concern that buyers have and use it to your advantage. So while they're trying to use cheap products and cheap shipping rates as advantages, you then have to counter that as a U.S. seller or seller from another country. And this is my item right here, okay? So here's mine, and you see I have my price up more. It's not $24.99. I have it at $29.99. Now, often when I'm competing with US sellers, my and sometimes other international sellers, depends on where they're located, I still try to make sure that I have the lowest price as long as my seller reputation is the same as the other person's and the quality of the item is the same. So I try to make sure in those situations I have it lower, but I won't just have it lower to have it lower if all things are not equal. And in this situation, you got to put yourself in the mind of the buyer, especially around Christmas time. So if someone wants this item, wants to give it to someone as a gift, are they going to purchase it from China? And right now we're talking about Christmas time, the holidays, but it could also be someone wants to get it to someone for a gift for a birthday present. They want to make sure they get it on time. Are they going to take the risk of ordering it from this person, or are they going to pay up more at $29.99? Now I have offers available people can make me, so maybe I'd accept $27.50, $26, something like that. So that does give me a little bit of wiggle room, but sometimes people just come in and they'll just buy it. And one of the ways that I try to give people confidence in buying from me and combating this whole China issue is this sentence right here. This is the key. This has worked for me so many times, and I highly suggest putting something like this into your listings when you're dealing with this issue, which is to say, this item ships from the United States, and bold it, and is not, and bold that too, cheap, fake stuff from China that takes forever to get to you. When you say that, that creates an effect on the buyer, and the buyer says, right, you know what, that's right. I would prefer to buy from this country, from the United States. I don't want to take the risk that it's cheap, and I don't want to take the risk that it's going to take forever to get to me. So imagine, and I do this a lot, I pretend I'm the buyer trying to decide whether they want to buy from me or whether they want to buy from this person. And if this is the type of buyer, like a lot of buyers, that is going to go into the product and is going to look at where it's coming from and is also going to click on feedback, well, I'm going to have an advantage here because I don't have negative feedbacks or anything like that of 100% feedback. So I'm gonna have an advantage there, and like I said, I have an advantage here as well. In addition, there are some, let's go back to the search field for a second here. There are some people that when they do the search, they could actually filter it based on whether or not the item is coming from North America or not. And so you go right here, and all you have to do is hit that button, North America, and now I've gone from having all of that competition to zero competition, because if someone's just searching for North America, now I'm the only one that shows up. So that is how I deal with this issue. You may have other ways you deal with it. Feel free to drop a comment down below to let me know, but I want to make sure I pass this on to you because I have found, based on my experience, that this is very powerful, and people are willing to pay more. They're willing to pay the $29.99 for the confidence that the product will be good, that it will be shipped to them fast, and that it's coming from the United States. So hopefully this helps you out. If so, make sure you hit that like button. Remember, we are still on the quest to get to 2,000 subscribers by the end of this month. We're at 1921. We jumped up another 10 plus subscribers yesterday, so we are getting there. I'm not sure if we're going to hit it, but with your help, I will. So let other people know. Blast it out on social media. Let them know about the Primetime Treasure Hunter YouTube channel. Remember, follow me on my Instagram account at prime_time_treasure. And make sure you come to my Facebook group, the Facebook Reselling Resource Center. The link to that is down below. Thanks a lot for stopping by and checking out this video, and I will see you all at the next one. Take care, everyone.